Sometimes, the scariest thing doesn't live in your nightmares. It's just outside your door, in dark college dorms, quiet-looking forests, or what seem like harmless student parties. There are things that happen no one can explain, and no one is calm enough to fully tell. These are 4 true stories. All took place in college, a place where you think you're safe. But the truth is, you never really know who's sleeping in the room next to you, or what's twisting the doorknob at 3 a.m. Put on your headphones, turn off the lights, and check your locks. Story 1. Dale, the roommate I'll never forget. It was my first year in college. I wasn't expecting much, just a peaceful start and hopefully a decent roommate. But I quickly realized I wasn't that lucky. Dale walked into our room that afternoon, right after my family had left. He didn't say a word, didn't look at me, just kept his head down like he was avoiding something invisible. When I offered my hand, he looked at it like he'd never seen a handshake before, then smiled faintly and gave me the weakest, coldest handshake I've ever felt, like shaking a dead hand. I had to ask twice for his name, Dale. I tried making conversation, but he only answered yes or no with an awkward smile that felt forced. 10 minutes later, we were both on our beds, silently on our laptops. I thought I could live with someone introverted, but I soon realized Dale wasn't just quiet, he was something else. That first night, I went out to explore campus. When I came back, Dale was sitting in the exact same position, eyes locked on his screen, face bathed in pale blue light. I said hi. He didn't respond. I assumed headphones. By 9:30, I turned off my lamp and tried to sleep, but I couldn't. Dale kept typing, all the way until 3 a.m. When he finally closed his laptop. I passed out almost immediately, only to wake up about an hour later. The blinds had been pulled open, and moonlight was spilling into the room, and I saw Dale, sitting at the edge of his bed, staring straight at me, unmoving, unblinking. I sat up, heart pounding. "Dude, what are you doing?" He whispered, "Sorry," then laid down, still facing me. The next morning, I got out early, trying to socialize with others. That's when I saw Dale again. He was crouched in a bush near the campus garden, rubbing the bark of a tree, gently, slowly, like petting a living creature. His eyes were wide, focused. Other students whispered. I just kept walking. Later that afternoon, I got an email. I'd been approved to change rooms. I sighed in relief. That night, my last night in the room, I opened my laptop and saw all my emails had been opened, even ones I hadn't read. Folders were moved. I looked over. Dale was sitting upright in the desk chair, facing the door, as if waiting for me to walk in. "Did you go through my laptop?" I asked. "No." He snapped way too loudly, almost cutting me off mid-question. He was lying. I didn't sleep. As I went through my bag, looking for clothes, I noticed everything had been moved. Then, around 3 a.m., I heard the sound of a zipper, slow, deliberate. I turned on the light. Dale was crouched by my bed, going through my backpack. "What are you doing?" He looked up calmly. I thought that toothbrush was mine. That was it. I knew I had to leave. I stayed awake until sunrise, packed everything, and moved into my new room. I thought it was over, but that night, just as I was about to fall asleep, I heard a soft clicking sound coming from the doorknob. I walked over and looked through the peephole. Someone was standing right outside my door, head down, hands slowly twisting the knob, like they were trying every method to open it. I called campus security. 5 minutes later, they knocked, and when I opened the door, I saw Dale. In handcuffs. They found a copy of my new room key in his pocket. I never saw him again. I don't know if he got suspended or expelled. But after that night, I never left my laptop unlocked, never slept with the door unlocked, and never assumed I was safe just because I changed rooms. Because those eyes, the way he looked at me that first night, it wasn't the look of a roommate, it was the look of someone who'd picked his target. Story 2, The Thing in the Woods. I was a student at Binghamton University. One fall evening during sophomore year, me and my two best friends decided to go out behind the dorms to a hidden clearing near the lake. It was quiet, secret, and the perfect place to drink without getting caught. That night, the air was crisp, the fire was warm, and a few beers passed between us. We called it bro chat, a way to escape the pressure of college life. But the laughter didn't last. A sound came from the woods, leaves crunching, slow, deliberate. We all went silent. One of my friends whispered, "Someone's walking around us." I gave a nervous laugh, but deep down, my gut was already turning. The sound wasn't random. It circled us, like someone creeping around the camp. A loud snap echoed behind us, a branch breaking. We weren't the kind of guys to go check it out. We just sat there, frozen. "Campus cops would have said something already," one of us whispered. Then, thump! A thick branch the size of a forearm slammed into the fire pit. Ash flew. The flames jumped. The trees around us flickered in shadow. No one joked anymore. One of us bolted. No warning. The other and I looked at each other, stunned. Then, a scream. Our friend had been hit in the face. Another branch. I grabbed him, dropped the beer, left the backpack, and we ran. We didn't stop until we hit the road between the woods and our dorm, panting, terrified. And then, we saw someone. From our third-floor window, we watched as a figure walked out from the trees, then stepped back when cars passed, then returned, pacing, watching. Eventually, it vanished back into the woods. We didn't report it, didn't even tell anyone. But none of us ever went back there after sunset. And if anyone did, it wouldn't be the three of us. Story 3, The Nameless Party. My roommate invited me to a frat party out in the suburbs. I agreed, though I wasn't thrilled. The house was barely standing, in a sketchy neighborhood. If not for the music and cars, I'd have thought it was abandoned. A sweaty guy opened the door, grinning. The air inside was thick, mold, smoke, and something metallic, like rust. There were barely any girls. The ones there didn't talk. They just stared. I stayed out of politeness until a guy approached. He handed me a small bottle. "Drink this. You'll be gone in minutes." I fake laughed, but he didn't leave. He just stared, waiting. So I drank. Within minutes, my vision dimmed. Sounds warped, faces twisted. The floor shifted beneath me. Then, nothing. I woke up on a strange bed in a windowless room. A dull yellow light buzzed overhead. On the floor was a chalk circle with symbols I didn't understand. From the closet came a crinkling sound, like someone stepping on plastic. I didn't wait. I ran, down the stairs, through the crowd. I grabbed my roommate and dragged him out before he knew what happened. In the car, I told him everything. He went pale. I'd only been unconscious for 15 minutes, just long enough for someone to prepare something much worse. Story 4, The Knock at 3 a.m. I lived alone, last room at the end of the hall. Quiet, private, perfect for a guy who liked to study and be left alone. It started with a soft knock, like claws tapping on wood. I opened the door. No one. The next night, the knock was louder, urgent. I threw the door open. Again, no one. But I caught a glimpse, a shadow turning the corner. On the third night, the knock became something else. A hand, twisting the doorknob. Slowly, persistently, I peeked through the peephole. Someone stood inches away, head bowed, both hands gripping the knob, trying to open it. I ran out. The figure slipped into the bathroom at the end of the hall. I kicked the door open. No lights. I flipped the switch. 2 stalls were shut. I crouched and saw a pair of black polished shoes. I shoved the stall open. No one. Just the shoes. Then, a rasping laugh echoed from inside the walls. Not a child's laugh, not a woman's, but the deranged, bitter cackle of an old, broken man. I ran. Didn't open that door again that night. But in the morning, the shoes were still there, as if they never needed anyone to wear them. A man staring at you in the dark, a presence watching from behind the trees, a room with no name, and a knock that never stops. You can tell yourself it's just coincidence, that you're imagining things, that someone's just playing a prank, but deep down, you know something's wrong. Thanks for watching till the end. If you've ever experienced anything strange like this, even just once, share your story in the comments. And if you hear a knock at your door tonight, make sure you know who's on the other side.